Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Empressive channel. I want to talk about this lawsuit that the artist Don Richard filed against P. Diddy. Now, this lawsuit really shocked me. Don used to be signed to Diddy. She was on Bad Boy. She was a part of this girl group called Danity Kane, which was put together on Making the Band 3 by Diddy. And then Don went on to join Diddy's group, Dirty Money. And I actually did a whole documentary on Danity Kane, and I also spoke about Dirty Money as well. It's like a two-part documentary. It's very long, very detailed, but it's very interesting. So if you have time, please check it out. But yeah, I do know that Diddy put those girls through it. He definitely put them through it. And Aubrey O'Day was always very vocal against Diddy. Dawn, on the other hand, was a little bit more careful when she spoke about Diddy. And the reason why is because in order for her to get out of her contracts with him, she wasn't allowed to say anything bad about him.
No, he said, I'm going to let you go, but you got to
let you go, like let you out of your
I'm
contract?
going to let you out of your contract and not say, like, long as you just don't say negative, like you just go through life and just keep going. And I said, sure, you gave me an opportunity. So I stayed quiet and he let me out of everything.
So Dawn hasn't really said anything bad about Diddy per se. Now, she did one time slip up and reveal how he spoke to her and her bandmate. But when she was telling the story, it sounded like a joke. But truthfully, it was very serious.
We were coming to rehearsal in New York. We were doing Saturday Night Live. Yeah. And Kalenna and I didn't know we had rehearsals. And we were asking everybody, yo, when's rehearsals? They didn't know. We get to SIR Studios and Puff on us. He spazzes out on us. Like, and he was like, we all don't want it. He always go with the y'all don't want it, the Jedi mind treatment. He makes you believe that you suck all to hell. And you've been working all hours of the night, and me and him got in a huge
what did he say to you, like verbatim?
I can't even go into detail. He was like, y'all bitches don't want it. Y'all don't want it. And I was like, Puff, why are you talking so loud? And I've kind of always, been respectful. I've never really went too out of line with Puff. I threw my purse down. I was like, well, you want to go, we can go. There was this chess battle that happened between him, and I think everybody's eyes was like, Dawn.
Now, I brought this clip up because it's actually relevant to this lawsuit, because in the lawsuit, Dawn said that Diddy would constantly berate her and her bandmates and call them out their name, call them the B word, talk about their looks. And in this particular instance where Dawn almost got into it with Diddy, he had his bodyguards lock her away in his Bentley for over 2 hours. She had no way to escape. She was screaming, but she did end up calling her father because she had her phone. Her father drove all the way up to New York and demanded she be released. And when he met up with Diddy, he told him that he was going to call the police. And guess what Diddy said? He said, think about your family. Think about your daughter's career. And Dawn was scared. She was fearful for her family's safety. And Diddy told her, don't call your dad unless you're in the hospital. So these were the veiled threats that he would make toward her that would make her fearful. But that was just one of many wild things that Diddy would do. Dawn accused Diddy of depriving her of food and sleep. He would constantly make her work. She had to be at his every beck and call. And she didn't get compensated for any of the work she did for him. It's really sad. And when I think about the whole making the band process, that was really Diddy's way of conditioning the girls ahead of time to accept being treated like trash, basically. He programmed the ladies to think that this is what they have to do and this is what they have to endure to get ahead in the industry. And Dawn was one of the many entertainers who fell into this trap. She was tied to Diddy and she had to take everything he threw at her. And things got really intense when she was in Dirty Money. She said Diddy would be high a lot and he would be awake all periods of the night. And he would demand that Dawn and her group partner, Kalenna, would come to the recording studio and they would spend all day in the studio, like sometimes 4 consecutive days without a break to eat or sleep. And anytime Dawn tried to leave, he would say, where the F are you? We have an album to make. And he would also make threats like, I make ends go missing. I make things go away. So he bragged about getting away with crime. So he allegedly was starving Dawn and threatening her, and he wouldn't pay her. In fact, he owes her like $1.2 million in royalties from their music and also $335,000 from their touring. And she was never compensated for promoting the Ciroc or Diddy Beats campaign. Also, Dawn accused Diddy of harassing her and essaying her. She claimed that he told her to strip down to her underwear, and he called her a B word and made some demeaning remarks about her body and said she was ugly and lazy and skinny. And he did this in front of other people like friends and producers and bodyguards. It was embarrassing. She also was aware of the freak off parties that Diddy would hold, because he would have these parties while she was in the studio. He would invite men and women to get high and get their freak on. Also, there were times when Diddy would try her. In fact, when she was undressing, Diddy would grope her body without her consent, claiming to show the stylist where he wanted her bra straps, but Dawn thought he was being a creep. He would even be smacking her butt, claiming she was too skinny. I mean, he was just doing a lot of things that made her extremely uncomfortable. And one time around Christmas, he tried to get her boobs done, and he would grope her without her permission. He said, "You're an A cup, I'm thinking a D." And Dawn was just in shock at his gall. And she actually observed firsthand Diddy mistreat his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. Now, Cassie already sued Diddy for his vile mistreatment towards her, and we've seen on camera how he mistreated her. But Dawn said that he was out here putting the paws on Cassie in front of other people. In fact, she recalled witnessing Diddy come to the kitchen, and he was screaming at Cassie, calling her the B word, saying, "B, you never do it right." He pushed her and threw like a hot skillet of eggs at her, and she fell to the ground, and he dragged her upstairs. And Dawn tried to intervene, but her other group member, Kalenna, told her, "Don't do it. Let's get out of here," because Diddy is dangerous. And the following day, he called Dawn and Kalenna to the recording studio, and he locked them in the room, dimmed the lights, and warned them about speaking on that incident with Cassie. He said, "This is normal. This was just a lover's argument where no one was hurt. This is what love is. I'm giving you an opportunity. If you want to make it, you'll shut your mouth. If you say anything, there will be consequences." He also said people end up missing, which was a threat on their life. So Dawn stayed quiet, and on multiple occasions, she witnessed Diddy just putting the paws on Cassie. Like, man, he didn't even treat her like she was human. It was disgusting the way he treated her. Dawn recalled a time when he knocked Cassie in the stomach at a dinner party. He did this in front of people like Jimmy Iovine, Usher, and Neyo. And Cassie was crying and she was in pain. And Diddy's assistant, Capricorn Clark, escorted her out of the restaurant while everybody else continued socializing and acting like nothing happened. And it's just crazy to me because I don't see how a man could witness that and not do anything. But that just comes to show you how much power Diddy had. Like, people were shook of him. I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw how Cassie was treated, but they weren't bold enough to intervene. You know what I mean? And also, Dawn said that Kim Porter was bruised up. She said that she saw her leaving Diddy's recording studio in tears with visible injuries on her face and her lip. And Dawn said Diddy would also host these drug-filled parties where he would traffic young women, some who appear to be underage, to the party. And he would have his guests perform acts on these women when they were intoxicated. And the crazy thing, Diddy would hire police officers to attend his parties just to get a message to the guests that his influence not only extended in the industry, but also extended to law enforcement. And this is why Diddy was allowed to get away with so much stuff, because, child, he had the police in his pocket and he had them at these freak parties, and he probably used that as blackmail. Who knows? But Dawn witnessed a lot and she was terrified. She absolutely was terrified. And there are some people questioning the validity of her lawsuit because, you know, she always spoke highly of Diddy in interviews, and she even wanted to work with him on the Making the Band reboot in 2020. And she gave Diddy her song Deliver Me to be on his Love album. So it seemed like Dawn had somewhat of a cordial situation with Diddy, but things don't always appear as it seems. I mean, a lot of people tolerated Diddy because of the power he had. And I think in Dawn's situation, she needed money and she needed opportunities, and she knew that Diddy was the gatekeeper that held the door for opportunities for her in the industry. So I'm not quick to dismiss her claims, even though it does somewhat hurt her credibility that she wanted to work with him after all he put her through. But at the same time, It seemed like she was at a desperate place, especially during the pandemic. So she was looking for opportunities for her career at that time. And she worked endless hours in the studio writing all this music for him, and she never got fair pay. So yeah, she deserves her money. One thing that's a little surprising to me is Don's group member, Kalenna, coming out and kind of invalidating Don's claims. She said this on her IG story: "I acknowledge the recent lawsuit filed by Don, which my name has been mentioned 33 times. While I fully respect Don's right to recount her experiences, I want to emphasize that her account reflects her personal perspective and should not be interpreted as a universal truth applicable to everyone involved. It's more important to understand that while I was present in some of the same professional settings mentioned, many of the allegations and incidents described in this suit are not representative of my experiences, and some do not align with my own truth. Tony and I have always conducted ourselves with the highest level of professionalism and integrity. We are not involved in, nor we are aware of, any behavior that could be considered abusive or unlawful. As this matter is now a part of an ongoing legal process, I will refrain from discussing any specific details further. My focus continues to be on my family, my music, and my work, which I will pursue with the same dedication and positivity that have always guided me. I trust that the legal system will handle this case with the fairness and thoroughness it requires, and I support any process that seeks to uncover the truth." So she said a lot there without saying much. She pretty much said, "My name is Bennett and I ain't in it." I understand that she doesn't want to be involved in any way, because the truth of the matter is, Kalenna's husband, Tony Vick, is actually friends with Diddy. Don actually mentioned this in her lawsuit, and she even became aware of Kalenna's husband being violent to her, and she tried to help her leave the relationship. And when Diddy found out about it, he became distrustful of Don. These are all allegations. We don't know if they're true or not. In my opinion, they sound very believable. I do believe Don, but everybody has their side to the story. Personally, I don't think Kalenna will be willing to tell her side of the story, because it is a conflict of interest for her to go against Diddy. So she's not going to speak out. She doesn't want to be involved, and that's her prerogative. But I don't think Don is lying. I don't. But anyway, tell what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.